I had a bit of a problem when I came to write this, because I realised on Friday, having said I was doing it, and I was thoroughly committed by then, didn't actually have much of an opinion about an employer branding. Kind of, it's a good thing, right? We all do it, right? Yeah, it's got to be good. And when I started to sit down and write something, I thought, you know what? I'm entirely convinced. So I thought, let's do the basics here. Let's try and define what the hell it is. What do we mean by employer branding? Secondly, let's look at whether that is worthwhile. Does it actually give you anything? Why bother? In my world, we don't put money in the till or save money, we don't do it. Value fashion. And then, on that basis, maybe work out what the steps you might take to do it are. And the good news is, I mean, just listen to people who actually know what the bloody hell they're talking about, again with the same answer, so I'm quite proud of myself for that. Because you lot know far more about this than I do. And then finally, because it's expected of these things, I'll just give you a little hint of what we're doing. And no surprise here, I'm not following the steps I created on Friday for myself, because I only created them on Friday. Fast fashion, we move at pace. Just to mess with Jamie's head, and to give me a thought, just to run that. Probably isn't actually that hard to sell this as a brand to people. I can't believe I used to work in the insurance industry. Or coming to the office on a Monday morning, find Kelly Brooks sitting on the edge of my desk. That's quite nice. So I can't guarantee that happens every day.
Have you got that so wet?
So I started off with
brand's got to be authentic.
I started off looking for a definition of what is employer branding, and this was the first definition I came with: a strategy to appeal to nonsense. We all do this, don't we? I've been a consultant for many years. We always, of course, you want to appeal to people. You create a reward strategy to attract employees. This is what we have always done as HR functions of employers without even thinking about it. And if that's what employer branding is, I feel like there's much in it to me. It feels like it's something we all do. And because I'm cynical, I started to wonder, I used to be a consultant, so I'm allowed to say these things, right? Is this just something the consultants have dreamt up to sell us stuff?
Yes.
And I think it is. It's the Emperor's New Clothes. You might press that twice. Oh no, go back. See? That's not the slide, but it's close. It's close. Yeah, it's good. The Emperor's New Clothes. Only I do think Kelly probably has worked out she's not wearing it from. But there's nothing in it. There's no substance there. And I thought, you know what? If I said so, that's my speech. Thank you very much. It's all a load of crap. That might not go down too well. So I looked for a better definition. And somebody else did the slides for me, obviously, which is why I don't know what's coming next most of the time. I like this much better. Wiki. You should always go to Wiki first, right? And I like this because it's got two words in there that I really like. Communicate to staff and active management of image. That starts to feel a bit better because that's something HR functions have been abysmal at in the past. Communicating. And this idea of active management of image, that's certainly something that HR functions have never done. Unless they want to be perceived as boring and old-fashioned. Then I was having a chat with one of our new hires in marketing last week, and let's look at that. It reminded me of what he said. He said, my job's immoral, if not amoral, at best. Because what I do, my entire job is about getting people who are about to walk past our store to turn left and walk into our store, to follow a predetermined path through the store, because that's what we do, to end up at a destination that we have chosen for them before they even got up that morning, buy something that they didn't need and they certainly didn't know they wanted. Now let's translate that management of image into HR terms. And how comfortable does that feel? Is that about getting people who didn't know they wanted a job to... I'm not sure that... But it starts to open up a whole bit of question about what employer branding is. And it does start to sound like all the things that everybody hates about the recruitment industry. About grabbing people and forcing them into jobs they didn't want, just because you can make money that way. There's a question for you though. I started to think about this image and started to think about it in retail terms and what this means from a retailer's perspective. So anybody, what businesses are you all in? Anybody?
Management consultancy.
Management consulting?
Internet.
Translated your terms, football. We're into football. We're into driving people into a retail outlet called a career site potentially or Facebook and trying to take them down a predefined route to end up at a point.
Best answer.
Sorry.
No, it's the right answer. It's absolutely the right answer. Because most people say, I'm in the industry of telecoms or management consulting. We're not. There is nothing that any of your businesses do that someone else doesn't do. Cheaper, better, slightly differently, but there is nothing you do that someone else doesn't do. There is no product any of you make or sell that someone else doesn't do. And there is no job that you have that somebody else doesn't have either. We're actually all in the business of, and this, yeah, I didn't know, go back. There is a little bit missing in that. If you watch this on a PC, tower, we're in the business of being chosen. That's what we are. Employees, customers, they have to make a choice on a regular basis. Shall I go to Starbucks or to Costa? Where shall I work? And you have to make them choose you. That's your job. That's the business you're in. And if you're in the business of being chosen, suddenly manipulating your image and communicating seem like bloody smart ideas. So maybe there is something in this after all. And the bit you can't see that that's not my thought. I've stolen that concept with pride from a guy called Martin Butler, who's a bit of a retail guru, and if you want to go and look at his books, there, worth a read, very retail, but he talks a lot about being chosen and how you get people to come to you and not to someone else. So why bother? I mean, this is simple, and I'm not going to bang on about it because we all know this stuff, don't we? If you're attractive, you get more choice. It's a metaphor for life, by the way. If you're attractive, you get more choice. And if you're attractive, you have to pay less for it, okay? But, you know, the very best and brightest automotive engineers leave university and they fight to get a low-paid job with a Formula One team. The very best designers leave London Fashion School and beg us for a free job because they want to work for an industry like ours or a particular employer. So if you're attractive to your target audience, you can pay less. You get more choice, you get the very best talent. And this is where it starts to get interesting to somebody like me. Let's do brand first. The reason I reject more people interviewed than anything else is fit. I don't know what my recruitment team do all day, but they clearly don't get the brand, I sometimes think, because we get these people in and it's totally bad fit. And the reason that people fail in the first year is not about ability. It's nearly always about cultural fit. Like to dress up. We have Zoe, who's a kind of festival look. Yeah, that's my daughter, really. Puts the look together herself. Anybody wearing a brand is an idiot. They clearly have got no fashion sense whatsoever. Gets it wrong quite a lot of the time, but doesn't really care. And then we have Sarah. Sarah's really comfy. She likes a pair of jeans and a sweatshirt and doesn't really care. They're four very different types, and when we create a range, we say, what's Charlotte wearing out to dinner, and what's Sarah going to buy afterwards? And we think about the brand in those terms. You think about your employer brand in those terms. Or are you going to try and use the same brand to hire an engineer, a designer, a security guard? Nonsense, isn't it? So think about who you are trying to attract and what they might want out of this. And we're moving into a world where you'll have three generations in the workforce. You'll have, call them what we want, but X, Y, and Z generations all happily coexisting, wanting totally different things out of life, all at the same time. And we have to keep attracting them. Yeah, someone mentioned EVP. Be clear about your EVP. What is it? What is it you offer? And how does it differentiate so that it attracts an engineer and a designer? And is it compelling? If it isn't, if it's not compelling, we wouldn't put product out in our stores that we didn't think anybody would buy, that was kind of all right to do. That's suicide. So if you are trying to attract candidates for jobs and your reward system, or whatever it might be, is not supporting you, go and kick someone's door down and get it fixed. And then identify the appropriate channels. See, I even got back to some older people know. Now, we wouldn't advertise NewLook or the Classic FM, so really think about what job boards you go on, and who's going to be looking at them, and what the right approach is, and that is going to be territory specific as well, because Asia's going to be different from Europe, and yeah. And the right tone of voice for who you're trying to attract, and of course all of that has to be consistent and aligned with your brand, culture and values, because if it's not, employees suss you out straight away. If you have a great employer brand, and when people walk through the door, their experience is different, you'll get a lot of very, very short-term hires, and that's suicidal. You might remember the Boots ad. The song was Here Come the Girls, and they all got dressed in like an office environment, and they all strut off down the street. It feels like a kind of NewLook ad, but it was Boots. It's a fabulous ad. Everybody loves it. Everybody, instead of looking to see a blank face, everybody remembers that ad, plowing on. But it was rubbish. Because my experience of going into Boots the chemist was not a lot of bright, fashionable young things. It was a big, sterile white box selling bloody pile ointment. And that is what Boots is. So get real. Get real. Be consistent and be true to yourself. So what did we do at NewLook? Well, we kind of did this slightly the wrong way around, some people would say. But we knew that we had lost our way as a brand. We were having ourselves defined as what we weren't. So we were an expensive Primark or a cheap H&M. Once people define you as being sort of a bit like something else, you are screwed. You have no brand. And we knew we had to get that back. We knew we had to sort that. And internally, we had no culture, we had no values. We'd moved from Weymouth up to London, most of the office. 300 people, 300 roles moved, only 100 bodies moved, so 200 people were writing things high up Oxford Street. And of course, they had no history with the business. So there was no NewLook culture and values. There wasn't a brand that was worth diddly. So once we'd stabilised the business in some financial ways, we set about working out what the hell we stood for. And we came up with this. We took all the directors away for 3 days, and we did a lot of navel gazing around what we thought NewLook was all about, what it stood for, what we cared passionately about, what we wanted as a group, and what we had been when we had been great. We had been great. And we wrote this. I think it was actually the thing at Canary Wharf that some of you have had the misfortune of seeing before, where there was somebody, I do hope she's not here, pompous financial services stood there and said, I've got 18 words on my, it took 18 months to create these words, that's how passionately we... I've got a life, I don't know how many words there are behind me, and it took us a couple of hours to knock that together, because they come from the heart. They are meant, they are felt. When we rolled this out to our troops, no one said, yeah, but I don't like that bit. They all went, yeah, that's us. Straight away, that's us. And because of that, we have had a huge change in employee attitudes by rolling this out. People get what we stand for now. And they get the subtext to this, which is all about empowerment and the real culture, if you like, which is buried under those words. And then, at the same time as we did that, virtually, we also were doing an awful lot of work around what the consumer brand should be, but the two were being developed in parallel. And what we came up with was, even you'll see that the bar on the left-hand side is striking in its resemblance to the internal messaging. We want to help our girls look good, feel great, and have fun. That's what we're about. Helping people look good, feel great, and have fun. And then we came up with some bits which, from a customer-facing brand, work on that. We then shut the offices down. We shut our head offices down for a day, closed the lot, and we reopened them the following Monday, having reskinned them and renamed them. They're not head offices, they're support centres. And it's kind of what it looks like in our place now, which, hey, we work in fashion, they ought to look like that. And the Weymouth office looked like it could be working for Kellogg's or someone. And it doesn't now. That really is it for me, because that's as far as we've got. We have a brand, we're just about to roll it out. We have an internal set of values, an internal set of cultures. Do we have an EVP? Well, yes, of course we have one, but it's not neatly tied up and wrapped in ribbon. We go live on our new HR payroll system today, apart from the email that said not in Ireland, because it falls up. But you know, we have to do some real basic stuff before we can get to an EVP, because we weren't there. But I think we are starting from a real position of strength, that it's all about the culture, it's all about the values. And in conclusion, I've moved from, this is probably the Emperor's New Clothes, to there is actually something in this, but it is still probably some